What's up, you wild tigers? Welcome to another game design show. Today, lens is the lens of the player. Now, this one is by far one of the most important lenses in game design. Why, you might ask? Well, we're doing a game jam this month, and the number one question you have to ask yourself is, what is the player experience? What do you want the player to be? You see, so we put it on the whiteboard and we said, okay, what is it? The theme is time. Let's maybe make it frantic, like, oh, you don't have enough time to do all this stuff, so you have to go now. Or maybe it could be like jumping through platforms and you have to jump at the right time, and it's kind of like a casual type of experience. Or it could be a more of survival type experience, which is like you have to survive the night or prepare for it during the day to survive the night. Stuff like that, you just start to think, well, how's my game going to be? Because the theme is time, but you can have different player experiences with one theme. And it's why I love these game jams, because it really makes you think, like, okay, how can I take this one idea and turn it into something like this? And then maybe you might think your friend, like, oh, let's make it like this. And then you end up in the middle where you get this really cool theme / game experience that you would never thought of in the first place. Now, the number one thing with this lens is thinking about the player. So there's three things I want you guys to take away from this video. One is, I want you to think about what the player is feeling. What do you want them to feel? What is it, the emotions you want them to convey? Like, oh, you want them to be excited. You want them to be scared. You want them to be curious. That's the thing. Two, you have to remember when you're a player. I mean, we all love games, don't we? So you know what it's like to play Call of Duty and get frustrated. You get excited when you win, or when you're playing Fortnite and you get that first W, like that moment of like, wow. Like, you have to remember what it is like to be a player, because you create games. You might be like, I'm going to build this level with this puzzle. It's going to be the greatest puzzle ever. It's going to be so cool. Or it's going to be great. And you go and play it, and it's fun because you've designed it. You know the answers to it. You're like, this is cool. Somebody else might play, and it might be like, that wasn't fun, or that wasn't as exciting as you made it seem, or the puzzle was too hard, or I didn't even figure out, or I just decided to do something totally different. So you have to really be like, okay, what is the player, or he or she, and think of when they're playing this level. And now the third thing you really have to think about is like, I might like this, but what is my audience gonna like? I want my players to enjoy a shooter game. But then you start building these different mechanics. It's like, oh, I think it'd be cool to add a little sword here. I think it'd be cool. We can have these little puzzles. It'd be cool if we can do this and that. And then you get to the end of the game, and it's like there's not a lot of gun mechanics. And so now your audience is like, well, this is cool and all, but like the game, we wanted a shooter and we got like a mixture of tons of things, and it really wasn't executed well because you just dabbled in the different things, and it just, the player was like, whatever, and like, it's okay. So those are things you have to really consider. Like, okay, what is a player like? What are the emotions we want them to feel? And then like, what exactly is it like to be a player in a game that you've never played before? Okay. So this book goes into a lot of different things, like different demographics. So that's another thing too, when it comes to what they like and don't like, who's playing the game, females or males. And then you have to understand like different ways to get them to enjoy the game. Book talks about how the girls love Sims. I've seen that with my sister, my cousin. They all love the Sims because it's a more social aspect. They can create and nurture and be living a more real life situation. Like, most younger girls like to play house because they get to reenact real life situations, whereas guys more like the fantasy, action, destroy enemies type of games. We love to go on different worlds and be part of different cultures, uh, races, ideas, fantasies. Males like the shooter games, fighting games, adventure games, pretty much a lot of games that we make, that a lot of video game companies make. But you still have to understand, like, how can we make this game fun for who we're making it for? And if you are making like an action adventure game and you do want to cater to female audiences, maybe make some situations where they can build their own house in this world, or they can care for other people in the world, because then not only do they get to go on this adventure, but the things they might love the most is like, hey, while I'm on this adventure, I can help out the people back home in settlements. I'm pretty sure the new Assassin's Creed Valhalla is going to do that, where it's like you can build your settlement, grow it, nurture the people there, so that way when you have a bigger army, you have a bigger society, culture to feed. And I think it's going to appeal to all audiences, and it's going to gain a lot of people to go play this game. And it's just a lot of thinking, like, well, how are we going to make it happen? It's not something that's like rocket science, where it's like, how percentage, but it's like you take these things into consideration. Disney Quest did the same thing with the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. And it's cool. I just learned about Disney Quest yesterday, but the book mentioned this ride where it was like we need to cater to families. So this is they're broken down really well. It's like moms love to see their family having fun. Their family's having fun. They feel good, so they want to be part of this game and make sure that everybody's having fun. You see how it works. It's like if you give them a role where it's like they don't fill that role, then the family won't have fun. So they made them the driver, the person in the back who oversees everything gets to enjoy their family playing games and gets to be part of like, hey, I'm steering the ship so we can go on this journey. And then you got the son who's doing mostly the shooting, the dad basically doing the same thing. The little girl, she's more of like, I'm gonna fill this up for you. I'm gonna, hey, like watch it, like look over there, like this over there, like, or hey, we gotta refill this, or mom, like make sure you go right. Like the little girl more likes to live like real life or social aspect or helping each other out. So she's gonna more help out, like, hey, you need to reload, hey, we need to move this. You also have to do demographics, kids, preteens, adults, like mature. Who are you going for? If you're building like a Assassin's Creed game, most likely all people. If you're building more of like a poker game, I would say the older people. If you're building like those Saltire or like card games, older women. My grandma plays that game, which is kind of fun. All people play games, whether it's on a console, on a PC, on your phone. You're all playing games. Everyone's a gamer. You just got to figure out what they like. And that's why this is so important because a lot of people say, "Oh, well, I'm not into games," and then you build them something that's catered to, like fantasy football, for instance, is its own game. Uh, Madden. So you get people who are like, "Oh, I don't play games," but they love sports, and you see them play Madden every day, all day. From the book, it even has these questions. It's like ask yourselves, in general, what do they like? Two, what don't they like, and why? What do they expect to see in the game? That's it for this week, guys. I want you guys to go and figure out different player experiences from games. Like, what is the player experience of Fortnite? What is the player experience from Total Wars Rome? What is the player experience from Civilization? What is the player experience from Call of Duty Zombies? What is the player experience of Candy Crush? Think of all those things, list it out, put it in the comments below. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. As always,
Remember, guys, you are a game designer.